When I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
Take my hat off.
I'm South Carolina, so I just.
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Moss?
Oh, my heart.
Happy 20th anniversary.
My heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? Done.
And dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself. There's
The doctor lived next door to the janitor, to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Doni, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it all the more.
letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. And look at this special halo. We got some technical challenges. Chances are you talk to yourself throughout the day, whether you are aware of it or not. Everything from I'm going to be late to I love this dress, I love this suit, to I'm so behind at work has likely crossed your mind pretty often. But have you ever said such phrases out loud? If you answered yes, you're on the right side of science. It turns out that expressing some inner thoughts out loud can actually help you better conquer the present and future. And it's something we should all start doing, according to Lisa Ferencz. Well, let's see what our own mental health expert has to say about it. Natasha, Pierre, good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Do we talk to ourselves? And if we do, of course we do. But how we do it? How are we talking to ourselves?
Well, if we're doing it in a healthy way, we are affirming and congratulating and cheering and supporting. But none of us are exempt from having some negative self-talk here and there. And it's in those moments that we need to be quick to combat that negative self-talk with something that will affirm us and propel us to our next step, our next chapter. So yes, we all talk about it, talk ourselves. And I say, sometimes I need expert advice. So that's why I do it.
I'm just thinking of some of the negative things that we could say to ourselves. I'm thinking of, this is Monday morning. I hate my boss. I hate my job. Oh, I gotta go here. Or how about this?
And that's real.
Yeah, I can't stand my neighbor.
This is real. I say that I am a spirit having a human experience. And because of that, I'm going to encounter human things. I'm going to encounter other humans, and I'm going to encounter behavior that doesn't please me. And to your point, Monday morning, some people have been in a funk since yesterday around 4:00 because they know they had to go in and see those people.
Since 4:00.
I mean, it's a real thing. But I challenge people to examine where those thoughts are coming from, how long they've had those thoughts, and why haven't they done something about it? If you have routinely and consistently said, I can't stand my boss, I can't stand my coworkers, I hate the work that I'm doing, why haven't you taken the next step to drive in the exit ramp and find something that really fuels your passion, that doesn't break your soul, that you can get some more enjoyment out of it. It's not just about money. There are many people doing things that they love and they get paid well for it. So why are you still in that place that makes you feel like ick?
Self-care as a power move.
Mhm.
That is the sermonic theme for this Monday morning. What, Natasha Pierre, is self-care? Great to see
My
you, by the way.
definition. It's good to see you too. You know that I always enjoy time with you. You know, there are many definitions for self-care. I'm sure Merriam-Webster and Oxford, they've got their version. My version is anything that gives you more life. Anything that fuels you, replenishes you, rejuvenates you, so that you're able to get back to the life that's hard. You know, some people say manicure is self-care. No, it's not. Because I have to pay attention. I've got to make sure that you're shaping my nails correctly. I've got to ensure that you're not nicking me. That's not self-care for me. I don't leave the salon feeling relaxed. Self-care is when I'm at the beach, as was this weekend, when I can be in nature, when I can watch the waves, feel the sun, breathe in the fresh air, meditate, journal, pray, read, sing, dance. That's self-care for me because it replenishes me so I can come back to my week, work, my responsibilities, my duties, anything that's pouring into you and filling your cup. That's self-care. And it looks different for every person.
Now, I just have to ask you, in terms of self-care, is a red dress a part of your moniker?
100%. 100%. I would wear this color red, this shade of red, this red with the blue undertone every day if I could. It is my power color. It gives me life. And so 95% of the time, if I am speaking, if I'm doing any presentation, I'm going to be in this shade of red because it fuels me. And that's part of my self-care. That's part of my healing. That's part of my power move.
Okay, we got greetings from Tampa. Are you in Tampa also?
I am. Good morning, Michael.
You remember Michael Randolph? He was originally from Sandtown, but we traded him to Tampa for you, and then you left us too.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, something I'm having certain inner thoughts about Tampa, but we'll save that for another day.
Well,
Tell
you
me
know
more.
what? Planes fly.
Planes fly, yeah, planes do fly.
Yes.
Tell me more about these affirmations. In the Bible, I went to church yesterday. The Bible says that the power of life and death is in the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
So how we
Yes.
speak to ourselves, I believe in speaking life. And if
Very
I'm speaking
important.
negatively, now I cuss too. Let me just put that out there on the Christian altar. I do cuss, but I think people who cuss are honest. I think people cuss are more likely to tell the truth. But I'm working on speaking life, not just to me, but my whole, that whole
Your whole
360.
tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean it's biblical, it's scriptural, but it's common sense. When I work with my clients, when I speak to people, many times what's holding them back is not what someone has said to them, but it's what they're saying to themselves. I'm not ready. I need one more degree. I need to get that certification. Why would anyone buy a book? Why would anyone want to hear what I have to say? Why would my story even matter? I'm not ready. There's other people doing this. And so it's that negative, broken record that's playing in the back of all of our minds that if we don't check it, it can keep us stagnant. It can keep us in a holding pattern, and it ultimately stalls us from reaching the places that we want to go. And it's everyone that has it. It doesn't make you bad, good, wrong, right. We're human. We have those thoughts. We live in a society that's bombarding us with negative imagery, with thoughts of why we're not good enough. And it's our job to affirm ourselves, to speak life to ourselves, to encourage ourselves in those moments. If we don't, we're going to blink, time has passed, and we're going to be looking at our life like, what do I have to show for it? Sometimes it is because of what our guidance counselor said in 10th grade. But many times, especially as we get older, all of the ways that we discount and self-select out of opportunities because of that negative self-talk.
I am enough.
Of course. Of course. That's what I say to
am
myself.
enough.
Yes, period. Or
Period.
as you know, we say in the Caribbean, full stop. Meaning there's nothing coming after that. There's no semicolon, there's no comma. There's not I am enough, comma, after I get another degree. I am enough, comma, after I lose weight. I am enough, comma, after my boss validates me. I am enough, comma, insert, pre-qualifier here. I am enough, period, full stop. It means everything that you are, everything that you have right now is enough for you to take your next step. You're not waiting on anything. You're not waiting on anyone. You're not waiting for validation. Validation is for parking. You right now, back to scripture, what's in your hand? What's in your hand right now that you can use to facilitate that next step, that next chapter? What's in your hand? And many times we make it all about degrees. My gosh, have we not yet learned that a degree is not a prerequisite for making money? A degree is not a prerequisite for happiness. A degree is not necessary to write a book. We've seen that over and over again. Again, it still plays in our mind. And this is why I say self-care, healing, that's the ultimate power move, especially for women, because we're in Women's History Month.
We are. You said something so profound. So tell me more.
We're in Women's History Month.
It doesn't matter what the person, what others say of me. It matters what I say of me.
Period. One of the affirmations that I say every day is, I only care about what my God says about me. Sounds arrogant to a person who doesn't have the connection that I have with my God. I don't care. I don't care about your opinion. I posted this morning on Facebook a video of a woman who led President Barack Obama's security detail. And she spoke about how there was a commander greeted every man in front of her, passed her by, and continued greeting everyone. Now, in that moment, she could have fought for relevance. She could have fought to be seen. She could have fought for respect because she was the commander of that detail. She was the lead agent. But if she took time to do that, she would be off her assignment, which was to ensure that President Obama returned from this visit alive. There are some things just don't matter. One of those things are other people's opinions, especially when they're negative. I always tell people, consider the source. Consider who's giving you the critique. Jill Scott famously said, if you can tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do. I'm not taking dental advice from a mechanic, unless his former life is as a dentist. I'm not taking relationship advice.
If he's got a, dazzling smile.
Exactly. I'm just not doing it. I mean, now, if the mechanic's smile is amazing, I may ask for, who's your dentist, who did, your thing, etc. But sometimes we have a habit of listening to that clanging cymbal, that loud voice, the one person out of the many who love us. We give ear and attention to people who don't matter. I was doing some math this weekend and, just thinking about the people who've expressed their displeasure of me or don't like me. Got that number, and then I subtracted it from 8 billion, which is the number of the people on the planet. Insignificant. When you heal, when you do your self-care, when you do your work, you get to a place where you recognize that I've been majoring on the minors. I've been giving my attention to things and people that don't matter, and I need to get back on my assignment. I need to get back on my purpose. I need to get back to doing things that are fulfilling for me. And when you do that, ultimate power move.
Ultimate power move. We're talking with Natasha
Ultimate.
Pierre, self-care as a power move, prioritizing health for career growth. When we think of our career, who else falls into that circle of influence when it comes to our career, my career? Is it parents, siblings, friends, colleagues, family, God, who?
No. Definitely, for me, God, my God, me. And then I would say mentor, coach. That's really it. That's like, if I were to say who's on your board of advisors for your career, God, yourself, your mentor, your coach. Your mentor is the person who wants nothing from you but to see you succeed. And so they're pouring everything into you. They're shortening your learning curve. They're making sure that you avoid all the pitfalls that they may have encountered. They want nothing from you but to see you be great. That's their satisfaction. Your coach is the one that's going to position you best to win. If you think about it in terms of sports, your coach isn't there to, necessarily be your friend. Your coach is going to tell you that, you need to work on your blocking. You need to work on your left-hand layup because you're weak. That's what your coach is there for. And those are the people that are on your board of advisors. Now, some people say, well, Natasha, why can't your friend be? A friend can be, but only if that friend is able to be your cheerleader. Like I say it all the time, the friends that I have in my life, if I say, you know what, I've decided that tomorrow I'm going to be a clown. They're going to pause. They'll be like, okay, are you sure? Are you positive this is what you want to do? No more speaking, no more mental health, emotional intelligence stuff. Okay. But they trust me enough to say, well, Natasha's got a plan. Natasha's going to figure out how to inspire people by being a clown because they know and trust me. Not every person in your life is a friend. Doesn't mean they're bad. It means that they're an acquaintance. It means that they go to the same faith community with you. It means that you know them from PTA, and that's fine, but they are not authorized, experienced, or equipped to speak into your life relative to your career.
So I don't need a PhD.
No. And people may or may not like this, but my 2-word purpose statement is being true. I am authentic. I am me, whether I'm with you or in 7-Eleven or in a bank or on TV. I'm always going to be authentic and true. I respect titles and degrees to the extent that the person is walking in that calling. If you are a medical doctor, I respect you as long as your bedside manner, your experience, your continued education, your respect for me aligns with what I expect for that title. If you're not walking worthy of your title, your degree, your calling, no, I'm not giving you the respect. Many
like you can't be a preacher and be caught at the strip club.
I mean, even if you're caught there, we can have a conversation about, what you're doing. I do believe, the gifts and callings are without repentance. I do believe.
Why the preacher at the strip club, Natasha?
That would be the question. Why are you there? And that's something that, they will have to talk about their family, their friends, their God. That's really not my business.
Jamal Bryant was captured one time saying these garden tools ain't loyal, except he didn't say garden tools.
I know.
These garden tools ain't loyal. You can't say that, Jamal, in the pulpit. Can you?
And Doni, we've been friends for a very long time. You know that I keep it 100. I think it is important for people to examine who they follow, who their leaders are, who they emulate, who they say they respect, who they post. Now, we're all human, okay? We all make mistakes and we all make choices, and we can be forgiven, but we're also not exempt from the consequences of our actions. When it comes to me, the people in my life, I respect because I've watched their walk. I've watched the fruit of what it is that they do. Like we were talking yesterday, if I'm going to take advice from someone on starting a magazine, a newspaper, talk show, etc., it's not going to be the person necessarily who started yesterday. I'm going to reach out to Donnie Glover. If I'm going to take advice from someone, relationship advice, I want someone who's got 25, 30 years in. I'm not talking to the person who is still on dating apps. You got to have some skin in the game. So when I speak about mental health, emotional intelligence, I speak about things that I know. I speak about things I lived. I speak from a standpoint of not only it working for myself, but helping other people to walk that path and seeing their success too. A leader that doesn't have followers only takes a walk. Where's your fruit? Who have you led to success? It's just like all of these, come to my $1 billion mentoring group, my million. Well, who's the billionaire? Who's the millionaire in the group? No one? Okay, I don't need that. I don't want to be there. There's nothing wrong with aspiring. There's nothing wrong with calling things that be not as though they are. But I'm very intentional with my time. And when it comes to self-care and healing, I know that when I take care of me personally, it prevents spillage professionally. And that's what a lot of people aren't aware of. Some people are not able to work with those that they really want to work with because their name has been mentioned in rooms and it's been associated with someone who has loose lips, someone who doesn't operate in integrity, someone who allows their personal life's issues to spill into business. And so, no, we can't work with them.
Natasha, your space these days is in the mental health sphere. And you talk to people all over the country about the topic, prioritizing our own healing. But before that, you had a career, an extensive career in media and modeling. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Great question. To my younger self, I would.
I mean, we know. Like, look. Nowadays, here's some of the premise. Nowadays,
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine starting a modeling career in the year 2024?
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. And this might be my own bias, but at the time that I was modeling was a respected profession. The reason I was able to do it for as long as I did is it was a profession for me. I got in, I got out, I got paid. I didn't hang around. It was nothing that my job was to make the designer's clothes look really good. It wasn't about Natasha. I was a hanger. My job, especially when I would go to the magic shows, I had several designers that would fly me out there to wear their clothing. My job was to wear the clothing in such a way that orders came in. If I didn't do that, I wasn't doing a job. In 2024, everyone wants the attention. They want it for the likes. Yes, there's some money to be gained in that, but I am proud that I maintained my self-respect, that I was respected. My reputation as a model was Natasha is always going to be prepared. So if, the makeup artist has taken too long, she can do her own makeup. She's coming with hair ready, prepped to be styled. And if the hairstylist has taken too long, she'll figure it out. Came with her own kit of duct tape and a sewing kit and band-aids and everything that was necessary to ensure that when Natasha stepped on the runway, she was ready to go. The designer was going to get what they paid for. You know, I have a clip from an interview that I did recently where I said, allow your authenticity, allow your difference to be the reason why you stand out. I stood out because I was different, because I was professional, because I wasn't hanging out and fraternizing. I had zero desire to date anyone on set. Let me do my job. Let me go home and get paid. So to my younger self, you know, I say I modeled for several years with low self-esteem. I did, because I didn't believe I wasn't doing it because I thought I was the prettiest one. I was doing it because people would pay me for it. They kept paying me, so I kept showing up. And I was skinnier than I am now. I went to college at 86 pounds. I struggled and dealt with eczema as a child. So I wasn't necessarily thinking that I am the prettiest person in the room, but I did it. And I did it, and I was professional about it. The advice that I would give to my younger self is the things that you're focused on really don't matter. Really don't matter. The people who want to work with you. Go ahead.
So let me put a pin in it. Did you experience complexion issues? I mean, nowadays you see designers doing more to attract the darker skinned models.
Mm-hmm.
American society, Western society does so much to mess with our minds with Willie Lynch, even down to our sororities. Did you wrestle with that at all?
Not at all. And the reason for that is based on where I was born and raised. See, I had the privilege, and it is a privilege. You know,
and your daddy.
And my daddy, I define privilege as something you have, whether you were born with it, you acquired it, or you were given it. That gives you an advantage. It also gives you a responsibility. I had the privilege of not being born and raised in the continental United States on American soil. I was born in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. It's a U.S. territory, but I was exempt from having to live through racial lens and gaze. So on my island, most of the people look like me. I, share often, I didn't know that I was Black until I came to the United States. So in the modeling world, I never looked at if I was turned down for a role or a gig as it being because I was Black. I understood the industry. I understood the business. It wasn't personal. If an agent has two Black women of the same height, similar look, they put them both out to the client chooses who they want. Modeling taught me that there's always going to be someone taller, someone with longer hair, flatter abs, longer legs, lighter eyes, darker skin, lighter skin. It wasn't personal, it was business. And because it was business, I approached it that way. Did it happen to others? I'm sure. But for me, it didn't matter. And even since then, back to self-care, back to doing the healing, back to doing your own work. Those things don't bother me. I can know that they exist and not be bothered by them, not self-select out of opportunities because, maybe they're not going to pick a Black girl. I don't really care. I don't care. I'm showing up. When I got my first role in a movie, modeling and acting was something that I did. I didn't self-select out and say, well, I've never acted before. I don't know how to read a script. I don't know how to audition. I went anyway. That's the importance of doing your self-care, your healing that's when it becomes a superpower. It's a power move career-wise. If I had said, well, I've never danced before in the way they made me to dance, I've never acted, I've never auditioned, maybe I won't go, I would not be a SAG actress today. I would not have that in my background. So to my younger self, I'd say, do it all. Do it all, try it all. I feel like I'm in my 19th career because I have tried everything that I've wanted to do. I've been a publicist, I've done television journalism, radio, on air, I've written for newspapers, I've been a political strategist, I've been a speechwriter, a ghostwriter, I've done crisis communications, modeling, acting, taught modeling, taught communications. Entrepreneur, of course, I'm a fourth generation female entrepreneur. There's so many things that I've done because I didn't tell myself no. And the reason I didn't tell myself no is because of my healing. I use healing, my self-care as my personal power move so that even if something showed up professionally, my mind was already programmed that even if I don't get it, I win. Even if I don't get it, I win.
One topic that we have been covering since day one is mass incarceration. What would you say to our young Black men? And I say that because we as a people make up 13% of the United States population. Our influence is far beyond that 13%. I think we have more influence than we realize, politically, economically, sports, entertainment, of course, spiritually. Martin Luther King said that we are the moral conscience of America. But to our young men, our young Black men, and Black women are the fastest growing demographic. We make up half of the people in prison. Natasha, what can we say to our young men who may be watching this broadcast from behind the walls? What can we say to them about self-care, about self-esteem, about I am enough?
First, I'd say you're loved. You're loved. One mistake, two mistakes, three mistakes, in my opinion, does not exempt you from a life that is worth living. And wherever you find yourself, you are able to do something. You are able to do and take action. And action, the acronym, is any choice that improves our nature. You're able to take action in a way that can positively impact your future. You know, this is where I've really been talking a lot about mentoring lately. And I asked myself recently, Natasha, who's next? Who's the next you? Just like Doni, I can ask, who's the next you? I really, really need all of the people who are speaking right now, who are the voices of our community, to take someone that is younger, take someone from the next generation and pour into them everything that you know. Pour into them everything that you have seen, show them their learning curve, because we won't be here forever. And so who's next? Does everything that we know die with this generation, or have we equipped the next generation to lead? We cannot expect our Gen Zs and whatever generations are to come anything that we didn't put into them. Are we mentoring success? Are we mentoring professionalism? Are we mentoring courage and bravery? Are we mentoring being assertive? Are we mentoring that you can express your opinions in a way that isn't antagonistic? Are we mentoring the behaviors? And not only just mentoring, are we modeling it? That's the thing. I am very deliberate about the way that I show up on social media. Not only because it's going to last forever, but I know that I have children, 18 and under, that follow me and watch me. I am very intentional about the way that I appear, my clothing in interviews. I'm very intentional about the way that I appear when I speak, when I'm in public. I'm very aware of what I have in my hands. when anyone takes a picture of me. These are things that I've got to pass on to the next generation. And this is why doing your self-work, doing your healing is a career move, because now some of these people, these mentees, can now help me in my work as I help them. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. But I need people to stop. Let me put it this way. I need people and organizations to stop being performative in their work. Stop waiting for the
Performative.
light.
What do you mean?
Performative,
Just
meaning
running their
they
mouth.
want to show up, running their mouth and wanting to show up when the lights, cameras, and action are there. I need you to
Oh,
really be in the communities that need you.
faking the
There's
funk.
some, or as the kids say, cap. Do the work. Do the work for real, because people need it. When I talk about mental health, I'm not talking about it because it's cute. I'm talking about it because this is what I've lived. 25-year journey with bipolar disorder. I speak openly and honestly about it because, one, I'm not ashamed. Two, because I know someone watching is going to say, you know what? If she's not ashamed of it, I don't have to be ashamed of it either. I talk about what I know, and I know that it's helping someone. I talk about this in the grocery store, 7-Eleven, in the bank. If I even feel like someone might be depressed, that someone needs a listening ear, I'm there. I'm doing the work. When you people see me on TV, that's a fraction of my life. It's a fraction. Stop just going for the big events. I know the golf tournaments and all of those things, they make money, and that's great. But show me your fruit. What's your impact? Who have you sent to college? Who have you poured into, gotten them a trade, an apprenticeship? Who's coming behind you? And I know everyone's not going to be passionate about mental health, but be passionate about something.
What if you find yourself in a career, and we're talking about self-care as a power move, prioritizing healing for career growth? What if, because and I try not to look at it, but guy came up to me Friday at the market and said, who around here goes to the White House? And I try to stay humble, try to stay modest about it. He says, and they not only go there, but they go there on a regular basis. Who around here? And he started doing the radius thing. You have been in situations that no one in your bloodline, you had no one to call. You're in New York City, in LA, wherever, and you're in this situation, professional situation. Your dad, sure, he can say daddy things. Your mom can say mommy things, but what about those instances where you're pioneering? You're going where no one in your bloodline, as far as you know, no one with your DNA has gone before, and you have to, I guess, ultimately look to God, and you end up answering yourself. What do you tell yourself when you're in that uniquely uncomfortable position?
I've been there, and I've had to remind myself of my past wins and my past successes to get me through, because not all people are pleasant to work with. And I believe Kenny Rogers said it best. Sometimes you got to know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. And there was an experience that I
I
had,
can't
a
believe you just
position that
quoted
I
Kenny
held.
Rogers.
I sure did. I sure did, because that's wisdom. Sometimes the fight isn't worth it. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, what's the prize? If I stay here and fight, what am I really fighting for? Is it worth it? I say all the time, when someone is willing to fight you for, fight with you for something that you would sooner do without, let them have it. I'd rather walk away from a fight so I can win the war than to stay in a fight because people expect me to be there or because people invited me to it. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to do it. So when we're talking about being in positions where you're pioneering, sometimes my job is just open the door. Sometimes my job is just to draw awareness. Sometimes my job is only to raise the money and then move on to my next assignment. I'm huge on assignments and purpose. Everything that I do is based on an assignment or purpose. If I don't have an assignment, I drink my water and I mind my business. If it's not purpose driven for me, I'm not going to be there long. I'm not, because what's the point? And I think many people, especially on a Monday morning, they're going to a job and they're fighting for something because this is the job that I got and this is the most money I've ever made. And, you know, I'm VP or I'm one partner or my guidance counselor or my parents or my husband or my whatever. I'm not advocating for people to be irresponsible. If it's something that's paying you and paying you well, great. But if you hate it, if it's breaking your soul, if you've got to take drugs in the morning to get through the day and then drink at night to fall asleep, how sustainable is that practice? At some point, you have to ask yourself, what am I fighting for? Why am I doing this? Why am I not creating a plan to leave? If you got 100,000 plus paying job, trust me, there is another. If you got one boss that, you know, has been good to you and mentored you and poured into you, there's going to be another. And I think the reason people stay is our topic today. They're not doing the self-care. They're not doing the healing. They're not doing the work to build up their confidence, to know that I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be okay. Regardless of whatever situation you put me in, I will win. That's what resilience is. Resilience is the courage, the knowing that no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. And I think people are staying in positions, dealing with people that they can't stand because they don't believe that it can get any better than this.
So let me throw this caveat in there. Take all of what you said and put it to the backdrop of COVID and the pandemic. Has COVID exacerbated the scenario of mental health in America? Has it forced us to go to our rooms and to introspect deeply, more deeply into who we are?
I think it did it for a season. Yeah, I think it did it for a season. But I believe that after periods of progress, there's a period of regression. For 2020, 2021, the world, America, we were all on the same page. Oh my gosh, it's a mental health crisis. We're depressed, we're sad, we're grieving, we're frustrated. Okay, for the first time, everyone in America, for the most part, understood what it's like to live with a mental illness, understood anxiety, understood depression and sadness at their level. But as soon as the world opened up, as soon as people were allowed to get back to work and businesses were making money again, those whose stress were linked to being out of work, that was alleviated. But for everyone else who deals with anxiety, panic, depression, etc., on a regular basis, nothing really changed. And so, yes, COVID and the pandemic slowed us down enough to recognize that I hate this job. I know I have 2 degrees in it, my undergraduate and master's, but I can't stand it and I don't want to do it anymore. I got to do something different. I got to move on. So there are a lot of decisions that were made. There were people who recognized that they really didn't love their spouse and the only thing keeping them together was the fact that they were always apart.
Now I got to see this person all damn day.
And not only them, The kids are also home, plus the dogs. All the pets are home. And so families were recognizing that I really don't even know my kids. How did I not know that my child doesn't know how to type? How do I not know that my child is failing in this area? Because you haven't been paying attention.
We were on auto.
We were on autopilot. We were just going through the motions week after week. And then when there's supposed to be a break on Friday, where you can have Saturday and Sunday to spend with the family, what happens on those days?
Sleep.
Families not only sleep, they
Shop.
chock it full with all of the extracurricular activities for their children. So the child is playing, the clarinet, and then going to, AAU something, and then cheer, and then you blink and it's Sunday and you're preparing for the next week. So we haven't, the pandemic slowed us down enough to see what we dislike, hated, loathed, what was breaking our soul. Some people made adjustments. Some people decided, no, I'm not going back into the office. Or I know I've been an accountant for 15 years, but I hate it. So now I'm going to do what I really love, which is baking cookies. It was a wonderful time for those who leaned into it, for those who leaned into the self-care, for those who leaned into the healing. And when I talk about healing, it's not just, doing things that fill you up. It's not just journaling. I am a huge proponent of getting therapy. Huge, because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know all of the ways that your behavior is affecting you professionally.
Everybody needs therapy in your book. Everybody. Even the damn dog needs some therapy.
Everybody. Everyone. There are people in therapy right now to deal with people who aren't in therapy. C-suite, you all should be in therapy because you are the leaders of the organization. You are the head. And the body goes wherever the head says it's going to go. And there are many people in C-suite, director, manager positions that are so toxic, that are so injurious to their employees.
You touching people from the East Coast to the West Coast. Keep talking.
I'm just saying, and this is where emotional intelligence comes in. I am certified in that. Emotional intelligence.
What is that?
Emotional intelligence.
21st century term.
No, it's something that has finally been receiving the credit that it deserves. Years ago, we focused on IQ. How much can you remember? How much can you learn? How much do you know? Book knowledge. That's cute. But if you're unable to interact with humans, now we have a problem. Emotional intelligence is being smart, being aware and smart about your own emotions and the emotions of others. That's a quote from my EI mentor, Dr. Hank Clemens. It's being self-aware. If you know that you had a rough morning with your spouse, with your children, gather yourself in the car before you walk through that door. Now we need you to self-regulate. We need you to come into that office and we need you to leave what spilled coffee, the throw up, the child that forgot their lunch. I need you to leave in the car so you don't come into that office and take it out on your employee who's asked, do you want the report now or later? And all of a sudden you're screaming at them. Self-awareness, self-regulation. We need people with greater empathy. We need people who are going to work on their stress management, their tolerance, their flexibility. We need people who are doing the work to be better humans. Like some of the people that I've worked with in my life, horrible. Do you think it's cute to be mean? People who are in lower positions than you? Do you think that it's cute to be upset at the younger employee because they have a different skill set than you? How about you use your Saturday to upskill, to take a class, so it's YouTube University, instead of being mad at the millennial? Yes, I know in your day we did it by hand and by Excel. Okay, but now we have apps for that. Now we have software and systems for that. How about instead of pointing out what it was like back in the day, how about you sit with that person and say, my God, you did that so fast. Can you show me how you did it? How about that? Instead of making the reason why a lot of Gen Z millennials are seemingly job hopping is because they have choices. Why would I stay and work with someone who's nasty? Why would I stay and work with someone who is intentionally trying to injure my mental health when I have a choice, when I can go somewhere? The average right now, people are staying in jobs 2 to 3 years and then leaving. They're going to get more money and they're likely going to get a better situation. I feel that space has got to be made. We've got an intergenerational workforce. We've got boomers and Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, millennials, everyone working together. And there's something for us all to learn from each other. But if we continue with this, they're moving me out because I'm old. You can look at it like that, or you can, upskill, find a place that's going to value your wisdom. I'm just not one for excuses. I like reasons, but I'm a problem solver. I'm a strategist.
I
So
got to
how
give you
can we
some.
make this win?
I got to get some of these comments. 400 years of slavery. Black people need mental health help more than any human on earth. However, Doug is our home run king on the West Coast. He comes on this network every Thursday at 7 p.m. East Coast time. If black people get all the therapy in the world, what difference will it make if our white counterparts don't get any? Because I'm getting all cleaned up only to go back into this toxic situation with these toxic people. Can I live a healthy lifestyle if I'm surrounded by toxicity? Okay, we got one
And
more. You got to hear this.
Don, I'm going to say something that may sound a little controversial, a little disruptive.
Oh, that's what we do.
Okay, I've never been a fan of DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Do tell.
I think it has its place, but I think at the time that it gave rise, it was just to check boxes. Give me one man, one woman, one Black, one white, one Asian, one Latino. Give me a veteran, give me somebody disabled. It just checked boxes. At the end of the day, the work day, there was no heart change. DEI without EI, emotional intelligence, is fuel. Emotional intelligence is where the heart change comes in. It gives space for understanding and empathy. It gives space for conversations to happen. If I'm working with one of everything, that doesn't mean that I care about their life. That doesn't mean I know their experience. But emotional intelligence gives space for a conversation about, okay, let me hear what your experience is like. We all have an experience in this country. And I tell people that Lizzo said it best, my mere existence is activism because I am Indigenous, I am Hispanic, I'm Caribbean, America calls me Black, I'm a woman, and I identify as having a disability. All of those intersectionalities mean that I have a voice everywhere I want to be, everywhere I choose to be. And so my voice is, okay, DEI is cute. I get it. I understand why it's necessary. Yes,
DEI
I can communicate. I can communicate to a company how a diverse workforce is going to impact their bottom line positively. But then I want to talk to them about intentionally infusing emotional intelligence from the top down. Because where some of our C-suite think they're being flexible and empathetic, I had someone, a C-suite person, first say, "Oh yeah, how's your mom?" Because they're having COVID. How's your mom? Okay, so yesterday you were actually out, a little bit longer than expected, and that's empathy. You heard that my mother had COVID and you didn't even take a breath before transitioning into what you thought I did wrong. This is why people are leaving companies. People are not loyal where they don't feel safe. There's no emotional and psychological safety in these workspaces, and that's why they're leaving. They're not leaving because it's missing someone that's Latino or Black. They're leaving because the leaders top down are demonstrating that they don't care. They don't care. And so
Yeah.
that's why people are leaving.
I mean, you down there in Florida. Who down there? Rubio, DeSantis, George Zimmerman. We looking for Zimmerman. Zimmerman better not ever come to Baltimore. I'm letting you know. Shawty, don't come to Baltimore. We know what you
But
look like.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. And I give blame where blame is due. I give credit where credit is due. That's my reputation here in Tampa. From police chief to sheriff's department to elected officials, when they are doing right, I say it. When they're doing wrong, I say it. And this is what I said recently. I am so over communities, people, residents, placing blame on elected officials to do things that we should be doing. As a community, homelessness, with as many churches as there are, faith communities as there are in America, churches are empty during the day, empty at night. What are we doing? There was one church in California that I saw during the pandemic that for all of the people who lost their homes.
Up in my church? Oh no, we're not having
and so, but isn't that what we should be doing? There's been so much talk recently about
y'all can do that over there, and you ain't bringing them up in here.
And that's the issue.
Period.
So do you want to just talk church, or do you want to be the church? Do you want to talk solutions, or do you want to actually see? Going to a commissioner, going to a council member, going to a senator and saying there's too many homeless people around where I live is ludicrous to me. Why don't you get 6 of your friends, get your church together and find a solution? We know of people who are sleeping in cars. Why don't we pool some money together and we hire off-duty police officers or security guards that will patrol the church parking lot at night so people can at least sleep in their car in safety? If that's at least we can do, why aren't we doing that? Don't tell me about commissioners not cleaning up homelessness if we're not doing anything either.
Now you're acting like we're supposed to be some type of Christian nation or something. I mean, we celebrate Christmas, but it's all commercialism and capitalism. It has nothing to do with.
But it's the same thing with mental health and substance use. When people talk about mental health and substance use, they talk about it as if it's a character flaw. That if you deal with anxiety or depression, there's something wrong with you. That if you have a substance use issue or challenge, there's something wrong with you. No, they're one and the same. By the time someone is in full-blown addiction, there has been a mental health situation that was the precursor to that. And so instead of talking about people who are homeless, people who are an eyesore to my community, who are reducing property values, how about we work to ensure that people have access to affordable health care? How about we do that?
I got to jump in. There's an election coming up, and the Republicans voted against women's ability to decide what to do with their bodies in the case of pregnancy. You're in Florida. What are your sentiments? Can I tell you what to do with your body?
You know, I never wanted children, so this is a easy thing for me, and I live my life such that didn't happen. I believe that I believe the government doesn't have a role in what I do with my body. And here's the thing. If you want a say in what I do with my body, then I want you to have a say all the way around. Don't just want to have a say with reproductive rights, but you don't care about mental health. Don't just want to have a say about when I'm able to have a child and how that child comes in being, but you limit the number of times that I can see my therapist in a week. So we're either going to be all in on caring about women's health or not at all. That's just my stance. You know, we've got gaps. Florida is dead last, if not second to last, in terms of how we fund mental health care. Yeah. Did we pour a lot in during the pandemic? Yes, that was great. That's wonderful. But here's the question that I've been asking lately. Show me the impact. Show me the impact. Because when I'm still getting DMs from people needing therapists, needing resources, that lets me know that the impact isn't there. When I'm still hearing from police officers and deputies that a lot of their calls during the week, during the day, are still adjacent to mental health and substance use, that lets me know that the people who receive the funding to educate the community did not spend it wisely. And I'm saying this as a person on the ground, a person that is in the community, a person that's still getting the calls. Where did the money go? It's easy, Doni, to do 52 Zooms. It's convenient. I don't have to see or deal with anybody. You know, it's in this nice little package. I just give my information, then I go on with my life. It's much harder to go into the hard hit areas, the communities that no one wants to go into. It's much harder to go into prison. It's much harder to go into the juvenile detention centers. It's inconvenient to go into the zip codes that have higher substance and higher involuntary mental health admissions. It's more difficult and challenging to do that, but that's where work is needed. So again, I don't want to hear people blaming elected officials for things that as a community we are failing to do. I don't want to hear it. What have you done? Let's go to veterans, because I am a veteran advocate. Don't tell me you support our troops. Don't tell me that when you only support them on 4th of July, Veterans Day, and Memorial Day. Tell me what you have done for a veteran in the last 6 months, and I'll tell you whether you support our troops or not. Harsh? I don't care. I tell it as it is. We've got veterans who are homeless. We have veterans who are struggling right now. And the best you can do is a free cupcake on 4th of July. The best that you can do is a F-150 sale. That's the best you can do for people who fought for this country, for people who are still dealing with the effects of war. That's the best you can do. I don't want to hear it. And that's not a commissioner issue. That's a community issue.
I thought I was with my last question. What do you think is on the minds of the people in the Gaza Strip right now? You got the Houthis, you got Hezbollah, you got the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, and we haven't even talked about ISIS and the Taliban in Afghanistan. But how do we wrap our brain around this? And this was going through all through the holidays, but it began October 7th when Palestinians invaded Israel. People got kidnapped. There's still information coming forth. Just Friday, I saw where they were saying that some of these soldiers from the Gaza Strip raped men and women. These reports vary depending on the reporter. What do you think the people, and then even in the President's State of the Union, he talked about setting up a food port to get food into the Gaza Strip, where over 28,000 people in Palestine have been killed. How do we wrap our brain around this amidst Ukraine and their need for billions and billions of dollars. That is apparently a priority. Not that's more of a priority than fixing the streets of Baltimore, fixing. I mean, we got some serious potholes. We've got schools with no air, no heat. We've got. I mean, it's just, and then we got a school CEO making $400,000, but this Democratic president is telling me, whoa, we got to stop Putin and Ukraine, and then on top of all of this, this orange dude with the really wicked hair dude could possibly be on the verge of re-election, telling me that 150 million Americans, more than we thought, have mental illness.
You're so special. You're so special. That's why you're one of my great friends. First, I believe language matters. And Palestinians didn't invade and attack. It was a sect of Palestinians. That's Hamas. I think that we all need to acknowledge that there are extremists in everything. There are extreme Christians, there are extreme Muslims, there are extreme women, there are extreme men. There's in anything, they're not all one kind, one type, one way of thinking. They're not. They're Christians that I don't identify with at all. So with that said, with that being the foundation, I know how impactful, hurtful, traumatic war can be, not just from veterans that I work with and speak with, but for people who have been in those environments. Ceasefire is what we need. Here's the thing, Doni, and for as long as you know me, you know this is me. I walk my talk. I walk my talk. If I say children's lives matter, I don't care if it's during peacetime or wartime. If I say that lives matter, I don't care what the conditions are. Do whatever is necessary humanely to create peace. I really refrain from talking about this because I have Israeli and Palestinian friends. I tell them my opinion, which is, let us call a spade, as we say yesterday. Who are the people doing the work? It's not the Palestinians, all of them. It's a group, it's a sect. So let's focus on that. We do have a lot to do here in America. And America, for some reason, is the elected country to involve themselves in global affairs. I don't like it. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like the way that our government is funding a lot of things. And Doni, I put my time and effort and energy where it's going to be most impactful, and that's local and on the ground. The work, my vote, yeah, will it get to, based on the president, there's still the electoral college. Where my vote and my work matters is right here in my community, is making sure the children have what they need.
I got one last question. This is the final one. Why are they? You're not ready for this question, Natasha. I've asked you a lot of questions over the years, but this one here, this one is going to top it all.
Doni, go ahead.
Why are we digging up the moon?
Why are we digging up the moon?
Why are the Chinese, the Russians, and formerly the Americans bringing back samples? Elon Musk, all of them are guilty. Why are these fools digging up the moon? You got the sun and you got the moon. The sun is up in the daytime, the moon come up at night. Why are these fools digging up the moon? And when do we step in and say, hold up, Elon, hold up, Shawty, you got to pump your brakes. You can't dig up the moon. Go dig up Uranus, Saturn, Neptune. I don't know. There's 8 planets in the solar system. Go dig up something else. Leave the moon alone. Okay, I'm a moon child. Leave the moon alone.
I get it. Back to our topic, self-care as a power move, healing. One of the things that I've learned is to observe and not absorb. There's a lot going on in our world. I observe it, I see it, I hear it, I know what's going on, and I do not absorb it, because my work, my purpose, my assignment on this planet is not to care about the moon, is not to care about manatees, is not to care about, potholes. My work is connecting people to their purpose and ensuring that people enjoy and recognize the value of mental health. So I stay in my lane.
What if you fall in one of them potholes? You can't move.
Well, then I go to town hall meetings and I find out who's responsible for them. And because my dad taught me how to level concrete and I know how to lay asphalt, maybe I'll give a pointer or two on how to effectively and permanently take care of those potholes. But
Yeah, but
I only speak and give information where I'm equipped.
I need the mayor of Baltimore to come up Monroe Street, because Monroe Street is in dire help. I mean, it's like boogity, 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 boogity. It's like a rap song, like, damn.
So now we need to get to, and I think sometimes with this is why civics needs to be returned to schools. I think sometimes we direct our angst at the wrong person. So the mayor can be aware, but the budget for this year has already been set. So now we need to get to public works and find out what money do they have allocated for our streets, for our infrastructure. Has that money already been spent? If the money hasn't been spent, give me a timeline.
I think City Hall might be at the dispensary. That's why no work is getting done. I don't know. I'm just saying Monroe Street been low. And no, it's been messed up before the past 4 years. But come on. Come on.
So then, but here's the thing now, back to community. Are we attending our town halls? Are we reaching out to our elected officials? Not you, because I know you're doing it. But for everyone that's watching, I tell people, don't talk about it more than you pray about it. Don't talk about it more than you don't complain about it more than you've taken action. If you haven't taken proactive steps, I don't want to hear your complaint.
You done got our whole West Coast. They are 3 hours. This 7 o'clock in the morning. You done got them riled up. Doug, cut that other audio off, okay? We get ready to go live. You got the most. Okay, here we go. There you go, sir.
Let me tell you, my sister, was it Natasha? You woke me up out of bed listening to this podcast. I had to get up and come on air. Everything that you were talking about is exactly what's going on here in Oakland, California. We have a recall on the mayor, who I won't get into that. We have a recall on the first African-American person and woman of color, Pamela Price, who argued a case in the Supreme Court of the United States and won in a civil rights case. This country has a war on Black people right now, and we don't really understand the magnitude of this. Black women, especially sisters like you, I am so impressed with what you're saying today, and it mirrors what is going on here in Oakland, California.
How so?
It mirrors because you got pothole problems, you got crime problems, you got economic problems, you have a barrage of issues that is not just here in Oakland, Chicago, Atlanta, New York, Baltimore, but they're predominantly in communities of color and Black people. And If it's in the black community, it's not a problem. It's okay. But the biggest issue here is we got to start voting. The white men,
you gotta know who to vote for too, and you gotta understand political machines. I don't know. I don't know. We didn't get a lot of progress here in Maryland, and this is just my opinion, until some Republicans started making it competitive because the Democrats were like the mafia. They all covered each other.
Doni, you know, one of the things that with voting, I've been in politics since 14. So I was on the Youth for Roy Snyder, who eventually became governor in the Virgin Islands. I've been involved in politics for many, many years. One of the things that I see as a problem with just Americans, people, we don't research candidates. Before I vote, I get the mock ballot at home and I research that candidate. I go through Google. I am looking 3 generations deep. I want to know everything about you, and I vote according to my interests. So do I vote across one party? Do I vote only Democrat or only Republican? No, I don't. I vote with the people who are aligned with my interests, who have track record of voting according to things that benefit me first, me, my people, the people that I serve. And people aren't doing their homework. What they're doing is they're listening for someone's highlight reel. They're listening to what their friends have said, and they lazily go into the voting booth and they're like, oh, well, I guess I'll do it because I want to post my sticker on social media. So I'll just circle these boxes. And so we get what we get.
How could these women vote against their own interests? That's what I'm trying to get about the white women, in particular, when it comes to Roe v. Wade. How do you vote against your interests as a woman, letting this moron tell you what to do with your body? You cannot do it in this state. If you do it in this state, I'm going to lock your hind parts up. And also, in vitro fertilization has been outlawed in certain places. And so if you do that, I know you're trying to have a baby, but I don't care. So it's confusing. It's baffling. I mean, I don't know what these damn people believe, but I cannot believe that women are voting against their own interests. They reversed Roe v. Wade. Hello.
But here's the thing. You've got to look at the impact that religion and capitalism play. And many people think that religion is just, just something. No,
religion
there's a lot
is
of
politics
people
because I won't let you do what you want with your body, but I won't feed the homeless. You see?
And that's what I'm talking about. It's a a la carte buffet style religion, and I don't ascribe to that, because if we are taking care of the sick, we're taking care of widows, we're taking care of orphans, we're feeding the hungry, we're giving clothes to the needy, we're doing all of those things. You got to do it all.
The moon alone.
I can't pick and choose, but here's the thing. When it comes to voting, many people focus so much on the presidential election, and we should, but there's an electoral college that is still in place that can look at the popular vote and say, no, we're going to go a different way. Where you are going to feel it most is in your property taxes. You're going to feel it see it in your roads. You're going to see it in your infrastructure, in your insurance prices. Here in Florida, homeowners insurance is insane. Car insurance, insane. That's where you're going to feel it. But here's my thing. We cannot complain without having a solution. We cannot complain if we're not ready to take decisive, intentional, proactive steps. Who are we talking to? Going to the barbershop or to hair salon and whining and fussing and complaining about it to people who have no power means nothing. get to your town hall. Do your commissioners know your name? Do your councilmen know your name? Do you have fraternities and sororities, Rotaries, biker clubs, all of these organizations? You have the power behind you. Let your electorate, your legislative body, know that we are voting people. We are your constituents. We are the people who will be at the polls on whatever day. And this is what we desire from you. We put you in office.
Natasha, let me say this, and everything you said is true. A lot of stuff we can't do nationally, but locally in our cities and in our counties, in our state. I'm a California Democratic delegate. I'm an Alameda County Central Committee, Alameda County Democratic Central Committee member. I'm a Oakland East Bay Democratic executive member. I'm on the Community Policing Advisory Board for the City of Oakland, and I'm a citizen. The point I'm making here is white folks don't want us to get involved so that they can dictate the narrative that's going on in our communities, in our cities, and our counties. Getting on the school board, becoming a city council member. And I'm going to use an example here. There's a brother named Kalima Pryforce who came to Oakland, came to Alameda County from New York City. 6'4", 260 pounds, with dreadlocks coming down his back with a walking stick. He came down to the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee in California. The white women clutched their purses when they saw him. The white men were leaning over to each other, whispering, and I can only imagine what they were saying to each other. I got up. I walked over to him, and I said, "Hey, my name is Doug Blackshear. I am so glad to see a young brother here. We need brothers like you to run for office." This brother ran for office, and he won. He's now a council member in Emeryville, California. Pamela
Does he
Price,
still have the walking stick?
he still, you crazy, Don. He still has a walking stick.
I stand with you, brother. I stand with you, brother.
Alameda County District Attorney Pamela Price, who was my attorney in a lawsuit about 6 years ago. She lost her first election for district attorney after being bullied, threatened. She came back and won district attorney the second time. We have got to start putting people in political offices because they got billions, hundreds of billions of dollars coming through the government, and they're missing the Black communities because the Black communities don't know what's going on. So everything you're saying is on point. Until we get involved politically, we're not going to be involved at all.
And we're going to go back to mentorship. Are we preparing tomorrow's leaders?
Yes.
Are we preparing them today? Are we preparing, like if we say, who's the next Barack Obama?
Mm-hmm.
Are we preparing the next person who's going to be articulate, who's going to have a passion for community, who's going to be a community organizer and engaging? Are we preparing them? Are we preparing our next generation to be interested in politics? Or are we continuing to foster the apathy of, well, voting doesn't matter anyway? I'm about solutions. I'm about problem solving. And so I don't want to talk to anybody in between. I want to talk to the check signer. I want to talk to the decision maker. I want to talk to the shot caller. That's who we need to speak to. And sometimes our complaints, our arguments, our frustrations in, our little circles have no impact because we're still not showing up to the polls. We're not supporting. We see someone that's running that could be a great candidate, but are we showing up to vote for them? Are we showing up? Are we demonstrating to them that they have our support? And many times we're not doing that. When I speak about mental health, I speak about it everywhere. I'm not just talking and whining about it in the grocery store. I'm going to the decision makers. I'm going to the people who have the money, and I'm asking not only for money, but I'm also asking that you allocate your funding to organizations that are really doing the work, not the performative work, not the easy work, but the work that's really going to transform our communities. And many times that's not happening.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
Doug,
can
it's
I
not
say
happening.
this? Well, can I say this, Natasha? Also, we
Stop
have
trying to
these.
steal my guess. I know what you're doing, Doug.
Also, I'd like to say this, Natasha. We have these old guys, 70 and 80 years old, who do not want to pass the baton, who do not want to train the next generation. And the next generation, they're not having it. They're not sitting on the sideline saying, "We shall overcome."
No, they're
They're
not.
out there. They're out there with the dukes up. They're out there fighting. In Oakland, California, I just recently had a press conference against the Oakland branch of the NAACP because the Oakland branch of the NAACP supported the previous mayor, Libby Schaaf, who pimped this city for 8 years. 8 years. They upheld her. They allowed her to increase the homeless population by 130%. 70% of the Oakland homeless population is Black. Out of that 70%,
I thought y'all only 20% of the population.
70% of the Oakland homeless population is Black. Out of that 70%, over 50% is senior citizen. Over 50%. Oakland is going to be the next Detroit because we got these old farts who were born in 1800 who don't want to pass the baton and train the next generation of leaders. It's like they want to live out their 30s and their 80s. And
Fighting
these young
for
people are not
relevance.
just on the sideline.
People are fighting for relevance. They're fighting for space. And you've got to know when your time is up. There's a reason why I'm not still modeling. Let the younger people have that. There's other ways that I can be impactful. There's a reason why I'm not doing certain things. It's because let someone else do it. I've got other assignments, other things that I can be doing. And so I think that there's a generation, the boomers. I'm not saying that you don't have value. I'm saying that there's a place where your wisdom can be better utilized. So move. We've got a generation coming up that knows technology, that can do things faster than you can do, that have
just
new
can't
ideas,
sign
fresh
their damn
ideas.
name.
Well, you know what? Cursive, hey,
Get them an app,
I
right?
still write in cursive, but here's the thing. There are things that were taken out of schools that need to go back, like civics.
Like prayer.
But, I have to say, allow people to pray to who they want to pray to. And might be controversial, but this is Natasha. My relationship with my God is so intimate. I don't talk about it because it's me and my God. In the same way that I don't expect people to be on platforms talking about the intimate parts of their marriage. That's between the two of you.
I also don't expect
here's
people
the
to be
thing.
trying to tell 3 or 4 or 5-year-olds about sex.
Well, absolutely. That's a job for a parent. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to decisions that a parent is making for their child, I 100% stand with that. What I'm not for is trumping up things because you're bored, attacking books because you're bored. I'm not for that at all. Where there's a
Natasha,
legitimate concern, we address it.
I'm not for them messing with Fannie Willis because she's not on trial. Mess with Orange Man with the wicked hairdo, the helicopter dude.
This is humans are moved by shiny objects. Okay. If I was pre-law in college and I actually wanted to be a defense attorney, and I love Law and Order SVU, and I know if you can razzle dazzle over here and divert attention, then you won't see my sleight of hand over in this area. What I want from people, from adults, is to seek out education for themselves. I told you this yesterday, Doni. At this point, ignorance is a self-inflicted wound. There's so many ways to obtain information, to really know what is happening in our world, that if you're only getting your highlight reel from Facebook, you're derelict. You're derelict. Go beyond page 1 of Google. Go to different sources. Go to opposing sources. See, for me, I'm not concerned. I can watch CNN, Fox, MSNBC. I can look at all of them and I can form opinions for myself because back to our topic, I've done the healing, I've done the self-care, I've done the work. So I'm able to form my own opinions. Critical thinking. I've done that. There's reading and there's comprehension. If you look on social media, you see it every time. Some people respond to things. I'm like, well, what did you read to give that response? Reading and comprehension, it's not happening. We're seeing it in our adults. So if it's happening with the adults, what do you think is happening with our children? What we need to be doing today is preparing tomorrow's senators, preparing tomorrow's commissioners and congressmen. Or what are we going to have? We're going to have a same problem where we're choosing between two people who are 80. Choosing between the lesser of, what are we in? Where are the 40-year-olds? Where are the 50-year-olds? You know where they are? They were not prepared. They were not ready. And so unless we want to have the same issue in 30, 20 years, we need to start preparing them now.
Doug, it's 10:32. We got to get up out of here. Okay. I'm going to give you one more, but we got to go. Come on.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to go back to sleep because I got some stuff to do later on today. It's 7 o'clock here in California. One thing we have here, we have these old ass black gatekeepers who are trying to relive their youth, and they don't want to pass the time. So the word for the day is get rid of the old ass black gatekeepers. Man up, do what you're supposed to do, which is be a wise counsel instead of an old ass leader. Excuse my language, but that's the problem we're having here in California. These 70 and 80-year-old gatekeepers, and I'm fighting them every day. When I come into a meeting, Natasha, they see me, they go, oh, hell, here he comes. Because
but you know where that comes from? That comes from insecurity. Gatekeeping comes from insecurity. It says that I can't have power and you have power. Right. So I got to make sure that I keep you out. If you have a voice, then my voice might be diminished. And then what happens to me? And that goes back to our title. When you do your self-care, when you prioritize healing, you are so confident in who you are that no matter what happens, you know you will win. Gatekeeping, it's Women's History Month. So here's my final note, Doni. I need women to stop being gatekeepers as well. I need women to stop making it harder for other women. I need women to share salaries. I need women to give the inside scoop. I need women to tell they get their lashes and their clothes and their nails. I need women to be in places and positions where they are supporting other women. And so that's my my final for today. And now, since Doni, are you giving me your platform?
I am, and make sure you give them your contact information and end off with Good Morning World.
Absolutely. I am Natasha Pierre. I am a life and career strategist, mental health educator, and I want to see you win. I'm always team woman. You can visit me at natashapierre.com. I'm on all social platforms at Natasha Pierre Official. And Doni, am I signing off with Good Morning World? If that's what it is, Good Morning World.